Duke Nukem 64 is a Nintendo 64 port of Duke Nukem 3D, developed by 30 Realms and Eurocom, published by GT Interactive, released in 1997. Aside from the shareware episode of the PC game, this was my first full experience with Duke Nukem, and being a Nintendo 64 port, there's an expected level of censorship. But there's also a handful of other changes as well. The game starts off the same. After the events of Duke Nukem 2, Duke takes an alien ship and heads towards Earth, only to be shot down by another group of aliens. Start on this rooftop here, and the first thing you're going to notice, and the thing that really bugs me about this port, there's no level music. Here's the music. Duke Nukem 3D had some truly iconic tracks, and they're all gone here. Don't tell me it was a console limitation, because every other game on the system had music. Anyway, there are 4 control modes: control stick look, control stick move, shift mode 1, and shift mode 2. There's no way to remap or even look at any button on these modes, so I found a manual online. After some experimentation, I found control stick move the least bad. No matter which one you use, if an enemy is above you or below you, it can be sort of a pain to be able to quickly aim up and down. It's usually more practical to jump and shoot or crouch and shoot. Aside from some layout changes in the levels, basic gameplay remains unchanged. Navigate the levels in any number of different ways, find color-coded keys to unlock doors, solve the occasional combination puzzle, and shoot anything that moves. Well, almost anything. Don't shoot the babes. Don't ever shoot the babes. Just trust me. In fact, in this port, you can actually save them, which I thought was a really nice addition. The weapons in this game are great, ranging from your basic pistol, shotgun, and dual SMGs, explosive guns like the grenade launcher and RPG, pipe bombs, and your really cool inventive sci-fi guns that you just don't see in FPS games anymore, like the Shrinker, Expander, and Plasma Gun, which replaces the Freeze Thrower in this port. Enemies range from your typical assault troopers and captains to pig cops and overlords, with the sentry drones being the most irritating to deal with. I think there's that one enemy in every game that whenever they show up, it just sucks all of the enjoyment out of that game. And for this one, sentry drones are it. Yeah, I know you can do the door trick to take them out, but they're still annoying. Even these things make an appearance, which were only in the birth episode from the PC game's Atomic Edition, but are in this game now, despite this game not having that 4th episode, aside from a couple levels that the developers put into the game as secrets. Speaking of episodes, this port isn't divided into episodes anymore. Since there was no shareware on the N64, there really isn't a need for games to be divided into episodes. This meant that you could just play the game all the way through without having to start a new game multiple times just to go through the whole thing. One thing that does bug me is that there's no mid-level save of any kind. I know the levels are usually short enough and not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things, but I'm an unapologetic save scummer, and I like my mid-level saves, especially since the controls make the game hard by default. There was also a 4-player split-screen multiplayer mode that had both Duke Match and co-op, but sadly I couldn't get footage of it, but I'm sure it's fine. Overall, aside from the crappy controls and the lack of any kind of mid-level save, I can't really find too much to complain about here. There's definitely worse ways you could play Duke Nukem 3D, and Eurocom did a pretty decent job of making sure the censorship didn't take too much away from the game's experience. Aside from a few side games, most of which were pretty decent, this is the last we'd see of Duke until... Ugh. Go play First Slice, you won't regret it. Anyway, let me know what you think of Duke Nukem 64 in the comments down below, and thanks for watching.